Since time immemorial, the use of art in healing has rested on a belief in the magic power of the image. The source of the cave paintings of Lascaux, the sculptures of Easter Island, the mandalas of Tibetan Buddhism, the sand paintings of Native Americans, and the Navajo dream catcher to protect us from bad dreams. Van Gogh was one of many artists who created to cope with their anguish. So did Jackson Pollock.
When you're painting out of your unconscious, figures are bound to emerge. It's pretty negative stuff so far. I've been going through violent changes the past couple of years. God knows what'll come out of it all.
You know, people go to the gym to work out and stuff, but another way of doing it is just coming to the studio and going the rounds with the painting, like a punching bag or something.
The first time I wanted to draw was in intensive care. It would be when I was feeling more conscious, and because I was sedated with a lot of stuff. And I think it was more the concern to see if I still had it in me, and I could still do it. I could still do that drawing line. It hadn't been taken away. I think my art really helped me because it was the only way I could hold on to my own identity. And I think if I didn't have that, it would have been awfully difficult. To be treated for cancer is a long process, and you need something to hold on to that's you.
Frida Kahlo only began painting at age 18 during a long convalescence from an accident.
Frida's body was almost destroyed in the accident. Her spinal column was broken in 3 places. She had a triple fracture of the pelvis from the steel handrail that had literally skewered her body, entering her hip and coming out through the vagina. The doctors did not expect her to live. When she felt well enough, she painted, using a special easel that allowed her to paint lying flat on her back. Painting had become an ever more important source of spiritual support, and Frida longed to get well so that she could work for longer hours. When I leave the hospital 2 months from now, she said after 6 operations, there are 3 things I want to do: paint, paint, paint.
Rob Weinstein turned to painting to deal with memories of abuse.
At night, at a certain age, it was always just me and me in the doorway. It was just me and the doorway, and there would be a white, kind of ray of light that came in from the hall into my bedroom, and I would be up at night just watching that. You know, if my father's feet crossed that line, that was gonna be a very bad night. If nobody walked in, that was a damn good night. If other people look at that painting, they can learn a lot about sexual abuse, because that painting's not really in my father's body. The dominance is not sexual. If you look at that painting, the arm has such a need to control and own and show this child, I can destroy you at any moment.
And Elizabeth Layton was battling a lifelong depression.
You hurt and you hurt and you hurt, and then you go round and round and round. So I thought, I can't stand this, I'll do something. After my son died, my sister wrote and urged me to do something. Maybe she was into drawing at that time, and she thought if I were to draw, it might help me. And everybody said, you don't look like that. But I knew I looked like that because I had drawn it out of the mirror.
What I find most interesting about this story is that 10 months after she took up contour drawing, Elizabeth Layton's depression had vanished.
And then I was feeling okay.
It's beyond language. It's an emotional language. And in being that emotional language, it does touch everybody. Everybody gets something from it.
Everybody loves art, you know? Everybody admires art. Just about everybody that I met. And art is not all about beauty. It's about hideousness. It's about the ugly things in the world, you know. It's not all about, you know, how nice things are.
Some, compelled to create, have found in art a calling that gave meaning to their lives.
Express yourself. Express yourself. You don't never need help from nobody else. All you got to do now, express yourself.
In the 20th century, the ground was fertile for the birth of art therapy. Sigmund Freud and Carl Jung discovered the power of the unconscious and the language of the symbol, which led in art to movements like Expressionism and Surrealism. Psychiatrists like Irene Jakob became interested in the spontaneous artwork of the mentally ill, like that of Adolf Wolfli, who was so violent that he had to be isolated from other patients. For him, as for others, art was a powerful medicine.
When I saw him banging at the wall or shouting at the top of his voice, I entered the cell and my equipment was not a straitjacket or a hypodermic syringe. My equipment was a piece of paper and a pencil. This disarmed him straight away. One could talk to him and discuss his drawings unless one criticized too much.
Some psychiatrists began to supply art materials to their patients, like Harry Wilmer.
As you know, we issue each patient an art kit when they come, and they're encouraged to paint at any time, and all the time. It's to use whatever media they have and to express their inner world of hallucinations or delusions or visions or just dreams or whatever they want.
Others invited artists to set up studios in the hospital.
The Netherland Hospital, Coulsdon, Surrey, is where Edward Adamson was the first in this country to start art therapy classes for mental patients.
The maze is a painting of the inside of my skull, which I painted when I was in England as a patient in Moseley and Netherland psychiatric hospitals. It is a story of my life, well, in the sense that people tell stories by the fireplace to entertain their guests, trying to make them accept you. In this case, I wanted to be accepted as an interesting specimen.
Most early art therapists were artists, like Mary Huntoon, Adrian Hill, and Don Jones.
During World War II, as a conscientious objector, I did time, so to speak, as an aide in a state hospital, where I got interested in the paintings, the drawings, the graffiti that the patients made, which were more than graffiti, soul language. They really expressed themselves on the wall and with whatever materials they could. This led me to write a small book about this and to do a series of paintings which came to the attention of the Menningers and got me work at the Menninger Clinic, starting one of the first art therapy programs in the country.
The grandmother of art therapy was a woman named Margaret Naumburg, who in 1914 founded a progressive school where free artistic expression was central, itself inspired by her own experience of analysis as a young woman.
Well, I moved into it myself in psychoanalysis. I made pictures of my dreams and fantasies.
In 1941, she was invited to work in a psychiatric hospital by its director, Dr. Nolan Lewis.
The great thing for me was the meeting with Lewis, who recognized what I had done in education with analysis, that made him immediately offer me a children's group to work with a series of 5 or 6 children once or twice a week using art therapy, their association.
Out of this and later experiences, Naumburg developed a theory she called dynamically oriented art therapy.
And dynamically oriented art therapy differs from other approaches to therapy by emphasizing the unconscious as the source from which the spontaneous imagery of the patient develops.
Another major pioneer was Edith Kramer, who worked with disturbed boys at a residential school and developed her theory of art as therapy, stressing the healing properties of the creative process. There were others in the 40s and 50s, like Florence Kane and Victor Lowenfeld. The National Association, founded in 1969, has developed standards for assessing excellence in both education and practice. Credentials Board awards registration and board certification to individuals and approval to training programs meeting its criteria. The literature of the field has expanded rapidly, as has the size and sophistication of the discipline. For that reason, it takes 2 years of post-baccalaureate study to learn to fully integrate a deep understanding of both art and psychotherapy. Training programs generally include lectures, case presentations, workshops, hundreds of hours of supervised clinical work, and treatment planning in collaboration with other professionals.
He's become much more relaxed. Since he knows now, he's at college.
And since the marriage of art and therapy has given birth to a wide variety of offspring, art therapy has many faces. In work which is true to both art and therapy, people are helped to find, to know, and to accept the true self, which may be hidden within, behind the masks they wear.
It lets you let me let out what I was mad at and stuff like that.
What were you mad
at? Just being in the hospital, period.
You feel something when you draw it. You get into space and it's like, I don't know, I hadn't been there so long that I didn't want to go there for some odd reason, I guess. Maybe I was afraid of it, that I couldn't do it, you know? But slowly but surely I started doing it again, and it was like, yeah.
Well, 94 years old, what are you going to do? It made me feel young. Because I didn't think I could move these old shoulders like that.
She says to me, I want you to draw trees. Let's find them well. And then she says, I want you to draw every tree in the Bronx. I caught on to what she was doing. What she was doing was rebirth. That tree was what brought new life to me. The tree in springtime with the little buds coming out is a symbol for new life, a new year, new everything.
I could tell you things cognitively in my head, but when I began to see things on paper, I began to experience the things that I had been avoiding. And art was a way of, there it is, it's just right in front of me.
And you're still here, you mean in art therapy, or you mean
no,
in general?
in life. I'm still here. So, you know, because every time I come here, I come up and do a painting, right?
Yeah.
So it's sort of neat to be able to have something besides coming back for treatments, coming back for follow-ups and all that kind of thing. And that's what art therapy means to me.
Yep, there it is. What a beautiful thing.
What makes the art therapy experience be as valuable as it is the presence of the therapist. It's the therapist who creates the atmosphere of trust, of safety, and who helps the child and the parent do more of the work of exploring what it is that's being expressed through the artwork.
When the kids are finally expressing some deep feelings,
through their artwork, and what we try to do is get them at some point to feel comfortable talking about their artwork and the feelings that are behind that.
I draw whenever I pretty much want to, but it's most effective when I'm mad. I guess that I'm artistic and that I can do some really good artwork, and sometimes that I can be really evil.
Do you feel evil?
At times. Sometimes I feel like breaking all the windows in the world, but I don't do it. But now, I think I'm a lot better. I'm different. Now if I do art, that's my drug, and that makes me feel better.
Indeed, art therapy always includes both doing and reflecting, always with the eyes, often with words.
There's a time to just be playful, to let the critic be silent or absent, and then a time to really think about what it is we've created and find the meaning, find the association, find the usefulness.
C'est ça du zonnement. Ça, c'est des fesses. Ouais. Ça, c'est une seringue avec une piqueuse. Ouais. Ça, c'est ma continuité de corps avec ma jambe qui est attachée. Pourquoi ça, c'est la porte. Je m'attachais.
Une jambe attachée? T'attachais?
Oui, je m'attachais. C'est fait.
A major problem I have is bottling up anger and not having words for the anger. And what it has helped me do is put things down visually that I wouldn't even know that were in my mind. So I drew this figure that had all these colors inside of it with a big dark line around it. And the dark line was a way of keeping those feelings inside. And that's what I've been walking around like I was all in turmoil, and everything on the outside world seemed to be in turmoil to me.
And now I'm trying to see if you can make another image from that image inside, from those colors. Can you open the mask? Can you open yourself to use that? Because as it is, it cannot move there, it's stuck. I wonder if...
I made the figure, I made the mouth, and then the problem was, how do you get those feelings out of the mouth? But it's not a song.
What is it?
And so I started putting in colors. And then I just let loose. And I just put colors everywhere. I let the colors come out. But the figure still had color in it. So the figure didn't lose its life because she let her feelings out. She became part of the outside world. Because when you express yourself, you never know exactly how it's going to come out.
No, you don't.
I feel a sense of relief.
It's more you also.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you're laughing a lot, and I very rarely see you laugh in a session, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and there is a real sense of relief, and also you like it, you know?
Yeah, I do. I do.
Because art therapists are artists as well as therapists, they know about creating an environment where authentic work is possible. They also know about materials and ways of using them, so they can help people say what they need to with all kinds of media.
But let me tell you what we have here for you to use, so you'll be able to make your own choice.
I have beautiful black markers, nice slick ones. I've got very super thin, I've got really fat, thick ones.
Put some more on and you can rub it together if you want.
Avec cette couleur. Il y a ça qui est couleur de brique un petit peu, qui pourrait être intéressant. Qu'est-ce que tu penses de ça?
Art therapists have many creative ways to help people gain access to their own internal imagery, like relaxation,
personagem mais importante, com que você se identifica mais, personagem.
Make your noise and make your line and keep your body moving in rhythm with your line. This sort of thing is not only a loosening up, it's finding your own vocabulary of expression.
The exercise and the scribble tend to lower defenses and will make for a tendency to produce material that is not so consciously planned. What I want you to do is take one of your ideas, whichever idea looks the most interesting to you, and make a picture right on there that develops that idea.
And then I put a piece of paper over the paint, and it's as simple as touching my hands to the page.
The task may be free or specific, depending on the needs of the particular situation.
You can draw a picture basically of anything you like, anything you want, and using as many colors or as few colors as you want.
Як ви скінчите, треба дірки робити. Ви взяти цей стяг і треба...
The directive is to decorate the outside of the mask with their favorite colors and their favorite materials. And then on the inside, I ask them to paint a feeling.
What if we say, here's your house here. And then over here is where you'll be in Salt Lake. And this is space in between, which may be all the fears and hopes and whatever. And then this will be something that you can take home and use as you need to use it. Okay? Those are pictures cut out of magazines and other things with the words cut off.
Where does that go?
And you'll look through. You'll look through and you'll find some things that remind you about this move of yours.
Remember what I said when you first came in that we were going to make safe places?
Oh, yeah.
Well, there's all kinds of possibilities. You can make your safe place have doors or windows. I will help you make it if you just have to kind of decide which thing you want to make it out of.
Sometimes art therapists use their artistic skills in the service of helping others.
See what it can go so they won't kind of cave in.
You want it round or you want it flat? Flat.
કામ કર્યા પછી પણ જેટલું ઝડપથી શ્વાસ ઉપર આવીશ તેટલું ઝડપથી રિલેક્સ થવાની તક મળશે. Very good. Well controlled.
I love to draw people's faces. And when the students reach like a creative block, I'll say, well, you don't have to work, let me draw you. But then I always stop after the pencil part of it and let them complete it. The drawing of the pictures is a way that I get to touch them without touching them. It's very intimate attention when you draw someone.
Aron, look at this lady.
Yeah, that was amazing.
They use their clinical skills to help others reflect on both process and product.
That's what I felt.
Okay.
Boxed in.
I'm going to ask you to repeat that motion. Do it again. Do it again. So when you're doing that, you know, and you're smashing the box, what do you think of?
I don't know. I'm just drawing the line. I'm setting it straight. I'm putting my foot down. Something I don't do that much.
The three-legged dancer.
What is she dancing?
What is she dancing? It's a very lyrical dance. It's a very wave-like and happy Irish.
How does an Irish dance?
Well, you know, it's very like, I said Irish because it's like, I don't know, Israeli! It's Israeli.
Irish is real.
Have you thought about a title?
You asked me a lot of questions here.
Yeah, I know.
What do you think of it, Jeff? You satisfied?
Mm-hmm.
What's it saying? If it says something right now, what's it saying?
Pissed off?
Pissed off.
Sometimes it is to review all of the art from a single session.
So if I were to say, this is you, okay, that you've made some pictures and that they have something to do with you and how you're feeling, how you're being, is there anything that you would be able to get from these three pictures if you put them together? What would you say about yourself?
I wasn't planning on doing it this way, but it sure came out this way. So much like my feelings and emotions and my situation currently.
Right.
This is how I feel, this is somewhat where I am, and that's where I'm headed.
Okay, so you started out where you'd like to be.
Correctly.
And then you kind of came more into where you're at, where you're feeling right now.
So looking at all these, which one do you like the best, Ray?
I suppose that one.
This one?
This one was done, it could have been done more subconsciously, I'm not sure.
Can you tell me something about the dragon before? I mean, is there a story about the dragon that you would construct?
I could, because since it's black, I mean, I've read a lot of stories about black dragons.
Yeah, tell me.
They're really evil. They don't like people, they don't care for people. They're, like I said, very destructive.
Sometimes it's to review art done over a period of time.
To have gotten out of art therapy.
Well, art is self-expression, that's, you know.
And self-expression. What kind of emotion do you think this person is expressing?
God help me, or help me please.
Take a look at all the dreams and all the drawings and see if you notice anything changing about them.
Well, I think in the beginning it seems more like he's very far away from me.
If he could say something to you in that strong, with his intensity, what would he say to you now?
I don't know. I think he would just say, say that I don't know if I can answer that.
What would you say to him?
Just that I miss him. I wish he was here. And most of all, that I will try to live my life as well as I can and raise our kids in the fashion that we wanted to the best of my ability, and I hope he's helping me.
Is the art in art therapy merely ancillary to what's otherwise a therapeutic interaction, to people talking with one another, like psychotherapy? Or is the relationship between these two functions really the other way around? Is the therapy in the doing of the art, in the work, with a tutor and so forth, but with a form of interaction that is very carefully calibrated by a knowledgeable art therapist who is also a good psychotherapist.
As you've seen, there are many different approaches to art therapy. Some emphasize the healing power of the creative process itself.
He's a person who was institutionalized for over 50 years of his life in a program that challenges what is the best in Dwight. His own creative secret self, so to speak, is probably the only vehicle that could really get in touch with Dwight's real inner world.
Some emphasize art as a tool in psychotherapy, and both are done with a variety of orientations.
I'm seeing your hands and your rainbow. What were you thinking when you represented yourself that way?
Well, the rainbow was supposed to be happiness again. And one hand was reaching toward happiness, and the other one was holding the other hand back.
This is the blocking hand?
Yeah.
And this one's reaching?
Mm-hmm.
And that's all part of you?
Yeah.
A part of you that gets in the way of another part of you?
Hopefully that one hand will get out of the way.
Feel the sand, see how it feels. Today we're working with sand play, which is another great way of contacting the unconscious.
It feels like a breast or a belly or something.
Clay is primordial. It's matter, earth. Like drawing, painting, and the sand tray experience, working in clay can bring images from the unconscious into a physical form that can be then consciously explored.
So this is something like a butterfly that has got some antenna out to do what?
Well, in other words, that's how I receive my signals, you know, that I get everything. But then I said, you know, you can't do a butterfly because butterflies are always free. So I, you know, put the blue in, you know, keep my feet on the ground, you know.
So I'm a butterfly with my feet on the ground.
Gently close your eyes like a baby going to sleep, just a little bit at a time. Do that for just a few minutes, and your hands will inevitably form some sort of an image. Don't try to create an image. Let the image emerge. If no image emerges, that's all right too.
But I feel good with it.
Yeah.
I fit it. It's like I belong there.
Could you say I fit me?
I fit me, yeah.
We want to make sure that we have absolutely everything that had happened to you in that day. So we start off
My mother come in after that.
Oh, your mother came in after your grandmother?
No, after my father took my dress off.
Oh, okay. So then there's another picture that we need to have in here. So if you'd go ahead and do that of your mother coming in.
I don't know what to draw.
Well, just let your hand remember. So we've taken all your pictures and we've put them up on the board here in chronological order. What I'm going to do is represent this to you, and your job is to help me remember any details that I forget.
Since human beings naturally express themselves in more than one modality, and since art often leads to spontaneous drama, many therapists use more than one art form in their work, like creating and using puppets.
I'm Joe. I'm your worst nightmare. I'm a drug dealer, the kingpin. Want some drugs? Huh? Try some. You'll like it.
all over the thing.
All over the person who's showing like a green person?
This is kind of fun. This chalk is really big. I think the witch will like them so much that the witch will want to be our friends and won't chase us anymore. Would that be good?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you take the cookies to the
I
witch?
hate cookies.
Well, this is the four bigger members of the family going around holding each other up.
Most of the movement exercises are to help people explore their interior. Moving into expressing through the visual modality by drawing, it takes us to another level, the naming.
I want you to make a body map of everything that's happened to you in terms of telling the story of what goes on in every part of your body. The ultimate thing is going to be you're going to make a short performance using dance, song, writing, drawing, or something.
In family art therapy, regardless of theoretical orientation, whether seeing the whole family or a subgroup, the art therapist's focus is on the family system.
I made what I thought to be the trouble. You clam up and I'm always hollering.
What has this painting to do with this one?
Well, that's me in the middle. And that's you and that's my mother. You scream at me in silence. You put me down and
make you feel so little?
Yes.
She's your mom. You can do anything you want with your picture of her.
Okay.
Whoops, there we go. So she was respectful of your feelings while you were married. But
She tried to be. She would give me her opinion when I would ask for it sometimes, and sometimes she would give it to me without asking.
Similarly, in group art therapy, whether members work independently or jointly, the art therapist's focus is on the dynamics of the group.
You remember in the beginning, me and you were drawing weapons against each other?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Then I started coming out with these new wild ideas,
Yeah.
and you felt like you couldn't come up with another idea.
That is not. I beg your pardon. I've showed them some of my weapons to counteract yours, right? And I've admitted that you've neutralized some of my weapons, which explains my newer developments. Now, I've been working on different weapon systems. You just haven't been paying attention.
Suddenly now you've got a fund of 6 colors to work with. And 2 things you gotta do. I get to use my partner's colors inside my shape. And between the 6 of our colors, we're gonna start to blend around. Exactly. We're gonna start to build bridges or make connection between our shapes. We can talk to each other, we can just start to draw. But now we've got these 6 colors. The only thing is, don't enter somebody's own personal space. That's what you're in charge of.
Art therapy is still offered to those in the inpatient psychiatric hospitals where it began. But over the years, it's moved into many other settings, like day hospitals and outpatient clinics for those with chronic mental illness, treatment centers, and programs for those with a variety of disabilities, whether mental or physical, including the many problems of aging in nursing homes and long-term care facilities. Art therapy is especially helpful for those with communication problems like elective mutism, childhood schizophrenia, neurological disorder. For those dealing with memories of abuse, whether sexual or physical, art is a way of telling without talking. As in this program run through a hospital and a women's center for children of domestic violence and their non-offending parents. Or Free Arts, where volunteers are trained by art therapists to offer art to abused children. Art therapy is especially helpful for those with eating disorders such as bulimia or anorexia. Art therapy may be offered in schools to individuals and groups at all grade levels, and is also found in college counseling centers. Art therapy is a natural for crisis intervention, as in the aftermath of a firestorm.
And this is my eyes and nose like running nonstop. I was just really scared and worried and all sorts of things.
Art therapy helps greatly in the long, painful process of rehabilitation. Art has indeed entered medicine, where art therapy helps people of all ages to cope with the psychological aspects of diseases like AIDS and cancer.
Isn't it funny? I didn't even know it felt like this.
Memorials are one way to deal with grief, like this sculpture dedicated to the victims of 9/11. Art therapy helps people cope with loss in places like clinics and hospices. Art therapy is also found in prisons, where inmates may work in a group or in their cells. In many ways, art therapy has moved from the clinic to the community. Sometimes storefront settings like Amanda's Easel, an art street, an open studio for the homeless. Occasionally, art therapy is really out in the open. Like this program in a courtyard, where developmentally disabled adults collaborate with artists, supervised by an art therapist. In one city, an art therapist helped a group of homeless women to paint a mural. In another, a community art center housed an art therapy group for women fighting substance abuse. And in yet another, there's a highly creative program for kids at risk. Art therapy has even entered cyberspace with a computer program designed for a group of homebound adults. And as you've already seen, art therapy can be found all over the world. Art is, after all, a universal language. You may wonder why art therapy has grown so fast. Well, making art comes naturally to some other mammals and to human beings of all ages. Art engages the whole person, not only the mind and the heart, but the body and the senses as well.
I love paint.
I love the way it feels. It's like so soft and you can do whatever you want to it.
Art allows for a safe kind of aggression and regression. And some materials permit doing and undoing and eventually preserving.
One of the nice things about art therapy is you can go to a place of pain at the same time that you're doing something that's enjoyable.
You put a lot of faces on the building there.
I put two people over here because there was other people in the other building too, so he probably helped everyone out to get out of the building, but no one could. I was upset when it happened because he wasn't here anymore. So I miss him now.
Thank you for talking about that. I know that was hard.
You can't just go diving into that secret place because you're doing them a disservice. They have to protect it and you have to help them protect it at the same time as you're helping them release what they need to release and understand what they need to understand.
I always felt like so safe because I thought that he'd always like protect me.
Without my dad, sometimes I feel, less secure because I don't really have like a man around really anymore. You can see that I have more in here than I do outside because I don't tell people a lot of things. It's like I'd rather kind of keep it to myself.
Oh, jeez. This just shows how deep inside her, and I had no, jeez. She's hurting really inside. She's in a lot of pain.
Roger kept referring to how it was so wonderful for him to have an outlet to talk about things. Much of the time, Roger and I don't talk. But the only words we have for that, how do you say, it was so nice to draw at you. It was so nice to sculpt at you. We don't say that, so they say it was so nice to talk about this. We didn't talk, but they communicated loud and clear.
I think it's a way to express all those things they're afraid to express. People are afraid to express so much. Fear, pain, loneliness, embarrassment, all sorts of things that no one else can have any idea of, and they can put that into art.
You can choose a face or a person or a symbol to represent yourself. The possibility of creating symbols give a freedom to say something that may be very painful or very important very personal, but at the same time, it is halfway. It is said, but it is not said. And so it is still under their control. So our therapy fulfills that very special kind of a gap between being silent and talking about something.
For me, in our therapy, the feelings that come up the most are the hard ones, the life and death issues, and how hard I've had to struggle to stay alive, and how hard it is to keep going.
You never did know if you will be alive tomorrow or after tomorrow, but you did hope that your drawings, painting, will stay.
It was one of the moments of total privacy when one is in front of a piece of paper, that rectangle or square. The world does really not exist. That is, I am the total master of that little paper. I can do with it what I want. My oppressors here, the Nazis and the Gestapo and SS, could do whatever they wanted. When I was in front of that little piece of paper, I was my own boss.
When I first started, I was 3 years old. If I couldn't paint, I'd just be lost. I don't believe I'd live long. I believe I'd just die. If I couldn't paint nothing, I got to be where I can paint something. I paint something all the time.
Pretty good ideas, I'd say.
Bet they are.
be an artist when you grow up. You have to paint talented. If they see it's really good, they'll put it in the museum and you'll be an artist.
Hey, is that how you get to be an artist?
But if you lose, you have to pick another job.